You're watching Global Toronto. This is Global News at 5:30.
Students at York University are getting a lesson in labor unrest tonight. And that's because a strike is now underway by some of the staff, and it's impacting classes as well. Shalima Maharaj is live at York University. And Shalima, this is York's third labor disruption in, what, a decade?
That's exactly it. And it's begging the question, is this becoming a nasty cycle that people are going to have to get used to? And we did put that question to the president when we got a chance to speak with her today. It's a lot quieter right now than it was earlier on in the day. There was a big rally, of course, with contract faculty, teaching assistants, a number of affected faculty members who wanted to come out here and exactly voice why they are on the picket lines. And they weren't only out there by themselves, they were also out there with students that were also voicing a great deal of support. Some students who say that this is just as much their cause as it is that of the contract faculty. Now here's a listen to exactly what the president had to say and what some of the supporters out here, some of the rally goers had to say.
Undergraduate students, which means the university only works because we do.
After saying a collective thanks but no thanks to York University's latest offer on Friday, striking contract faculty, teaching and graduate assistants are rallying the troops and hitting picket lines starting Tuesday.
We're trying to get living wages. Like, we're here, we work for the university, we contribute to the research and the reputation of York University.
I've been working here since 2000, so this is my third strike and my third time at this exact location.
This is the third labor dispute the university has seen in 10 years. 2015 strike lasted close to a month.
I think it's not fair for the student because we're actually here for learning.
You do want your profs and TAs to get proper compensation, but at the same time, we want to get the semester over with.
2008 strike ended after nearly 3 months following back to work legislation.
The crux of the issues and what stands between the employer and us right now are really job security for contract faculty, stable and predictable funding for graduate students, and equity and accessibility in the workplace.
Workers have been without a contract since August 31st. Even after the two sides reached a stalemate, the union says they tried to initiate talks again.
We were ready, available, and willing to bargain over the weekend, to sit down with the conciliator, to work through an agreement that would be acceptable to both parties. They did not respond to us.
Instead, we got a list of the original proposals. So what we've asked is that they will provide us with a counter proposal. So as far as we're concerned, the ball is in their court.
When asked about what happened over the weekend, York University President Rhonda Lenton says they were waiting for a counter proposal from the union.
CUPE 3903 brought over 110 proposals that in total would have cost the university over a 57% increase.
According to the university, union members teach 39% of courses. The union says they deliver 60% of coursework on campus. Now, one other big difference between now and 2015 and 2008, of course, is because we also have the subway system that feeds directly into the campus. Now, back then, it would have been a lot harder for students to be able to access their classes. Of course, the president is urging everyone to be pretty respectful of the process here as this goes on. But you'll notice that the actual subway does feed directly onto the campus, so students who are looking to access classes that are continuing will be able to do so. Another note, libraries, restaurants, administrative offices, and other services will also remain open, at least for the duration as far as we can see. It's back to you both.
All right. Thank you, Shalima.
You're watching Global Toronto. This is Global News at 6.
Switching gears now, this might sound familiar, but contract workers at York University have decided to strike. So as of tomorrow, many students and full-time faculty are going to have to cross a picket line to get to class. Shalima Maharaj is live at York University. Shalima, how did we get here yet again?
Again, that's right, 3 times in just under a decade here, and we've had workers here without a contract since August 31st last year, and since then it's just barely been a back and forth between York and the union. Now, the university itself will be open for business, but it's not business as usual for everybody, and that's of course because some classes will be subject to cancellation. Now, CUPE 3903 represents nearly 3,000 contract faculty, teaching assistants, grad assistants, research assistants here at York, and the union says they deliver about 60% of the course float on campus. York, meanwhile, says they teach around 40%, so some pretty different figures there between the two. Now, this is the third time we've seen this in 10 years, 85 days. That is how long the strike lasted in 2008. That was ended with back-to-work legislation. In 2015, the strike was just shy of a month. Now, we spoke to the president of York about how students can possibly feel reassured when every few years it seems that they're being thrust into uncertainty.
I really want to emphasize that we have 14 unions on this campus, and over the last 15 years, we have successfully negotiated 46 out of 49 different settlements.
They rejected it because it's filled with concessions, because our members are already dealing with precarious work, are already dealing with the challenges of delivering quality education in this environment.
Now, we alluded to this earlier, but York University seems to have significantly more strikes than any other post-secondary school. I remember when I was in university, Shalima, I didn't attend York, but that was more than 10 years ago. What is it that makes York so unique in that respect?
Well, I mean, that is really the big question, and we put it to the president a couple of different ways. She's saying that, you know what, we try not to wind up in this position. You heard her there just saying that 46 out of 49, they have a number of unions, and so they've gone through those contract negotiations successfully 46 out of 49 times. 3 times, of course, we've been dealing specifically with the union that's involved in this here. We are hoping to learn that ourselves, and that's a question that we are going to be probing a little bit more throughout the week. Of course, the strike actually gets underway officially tomorrow when we do see the workers hitting the picket line. So the strike was official as of 12:01, but they're going to be hitting those picket lines right across the school here. But like I mentioned earlier on, a little bit of a difference here. We do have some access straight into the campus, of course, with the subway now feeding right into York.
And if those that march today was quite something, if that's any indication, those pickets will be substantial. Thanks so much for that, Shalima Maharaj at York.